Double Dragon Waifu equals true. So, hello everyone, Mondon here. In this video, I'm gonna go over and explain each emblem and who they should be paired with. Who is the best combination for each emblem. This is not a T ranking per character or emblem, but in some aspect we are gonna go from most important emblem to least important emblem. So you can see it as also an emblem tier list, more or less. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, press the like button, and leave a comment below who you think are the best emblem pairings. First of all, we're gonna start with Corrine. The reason why, and I say it straightforward, is that one thing I want to take away from this video is that the best person for Corrine is the other dragon waifu, of course, the main character Allure. And I think this is very important to explain immediately, right? Because Allure is pretty bad. The main character is very weak, and in most stages I would rather have another character than Allure. But Corrine, again, is actually the best pairing, which means that she's actually playable. So let's talk about that first and why Corrine is so good in Allure. Okay, so let's talk about each emblem. Starting with Corrine. And Corrine is hands down the best emblem in the game. There's another emblem that I would say is better sometimes, and sometimes it's extremely OP, and that's Byleth, which would be the next number 2 list here. But Corrine, generally speaking, it's just fantastic, right? And it's because of this ability alone, the ice ability, which of course is the ability the doll has, so you can create this ice block. So if you're struggling on maddening, for example, chapter 17, which is incredibly hard, there is like a ability, what's called this ability, right? So you can block out enemies, 2 attacks, so now the enemies run up here, they have to destroy the ice, right? And it's an absurdly effective ability to control a choke point in the game, and I would say easily, again, it's the most broken ability in the game. And that's simply, already here I would say Corrine is the best emblem. And then if you kill all the other enemies, right, the boss basically can't break the ice, you can then shoot at the boss with the 3 years attacks, and then you easily win, right? So it's amazing ability. However, already at this point, I would probably say that Corrine is the best ability, but there's a specific key adapt ability to create ice. And what Allure gets then from playing with Corrine, she can decide any ability you want to use, right? So you can also, for example, use Flame if you want, which do AoE damage. You can use healing and so on, right? Which is awesome. Because the second best character with Corrine, which is also a very good option for Corrine, it's Yunica. Because Yunica, as a covert, will get Fog. So if you use Fog, you can now always stand in evasion with Yunica, right? So if you're not gonna use Allure, you should use Yunica to always have protection for Yunica. However, as Allure instead, I can utilize the ice thing, right, at most stages, and then when I need Yunica to tank, for example when I beat chapter 19, then I'm using the Fog. So for the first, let's say, 5 turns, I'm using ice. For the last 5 turns, I'm using Fog, right? And then Yunica can attack instead out of the Fog. So it's better than having on the main character. Furthermore, I can also use the healing with the main character on some of the products when we split up and so on. And sometimes you can use the defense, for example, Temera and so on. So having that incredible versatility of using the current environment that you need is why it's so incredibly good on the main character. Another amazing thing with Corrine is this ability called Draconic Hex. If you attack an enemy, they take -4 in every stat for 1 turn. This ability should be used by your weakest character to engage against the boss, for example. Then your stronger character can do more damage. So here again, Corrine shouldn't be on a strong hitter, it should be on a weak hitter, which most likely would be Allure. Because Allure is good with March, which is true of course, the second best pick for Allure is March, but when you lose March, right, Allure becomes almost basically useless. What this means is that Allure will fall back in XP, and will definitely fall back as a support unit instead of being a damage dealer. This is why, when you're in the mid game, especially late game, Allure basically can only be useful with supportive emblem. As I pointed out as a side note, why Allure kind of gets stuck as a support character. So that's Corrine, the best emblem in the game, mostly because of her ice ability, which is perfect for Allure then. Another character that can use her is Ivy as well, thanks for the Dreadful Aura, because Ivy, having amazing mobility and range, can easily freeze enemies. However, again, the ice thing is better because some enemies are immune to this thing, but no enemies are immune to the ice block thing. So some bosses are still easier handled by constantly spamming the ice block. Now, let's talk about Byleth. Easily the best or second best emblem in the game then, with by far the best ability in the game, Goddess Dance. Now, you can't use it all the time, that's why I say Corrin is probably more useful altogether for a fight, but Goddess Dance is obviously like SSS Super T rank ability. It works like a dancer, but it's for 4 units instead of 1 unit. And you can combine it with the dancer, with counter, and then you can have each more turn. For example, I can use my Citrine's Torrent attack 4 times with a Goddess Dance combo. And that being said, Byleth can basically be on any character, just how incredibly powerful the dance is. It doesn't really matter. However, of course, one thing, he cannot be on your damage dealer, right? Your damage dealer shouldn't have Byleth, because they're gonna cost 1 turn for them to do it, right? So anyone else except your main damage dealers can have Byleth. And here's actually what I use Anna. So now I'm breaking tradition here by having Anna as a voice sort of magician, right? But Radiant Bow Anna is actually amazing because of a combination of then spell, high speed, magic, and strength, right? And also with Hurricane Axe. But primarily, why, and again, this video is about why Byleth put Anna, right? Not how Anna's best class is that Longbow gives Anna an amazing ability to back up, right? And backup means you have to just stand close to the enemy so you can do your backup combo. So if you look here now, this is the best combo for Byleth. Maybe it isn't the best combo for Anna. I would argue that Radiant Bow makes the best combo for Anna. But if I use Longbow, right, stand in the middle, and now I Goddess Dance, Anna can now give everyone 4 turns again. We have the double dance with Sudal, so it's even more turns. And she will also then reach the enemy after the Goddess Dance. So this is a way to use Anna and also have the constant backup in Longbow. So if I had an enemy next to me now, I could of course shoot like, 4 more turns, right? And that of course gives me the bonus for backup. So really, Byleth is best on backup characters on a war. And now, furthermore, Anna's passive to make money is triggered by luck. Byleth is the emblem that gives you a lot of luck. So that kind of concludes Byleth. He should be on a backup character, or potentially a character like Hortensia. They can heal, and then instead of healing that turn, then sacrifice the healing turn, right? To add to the other character's damage. However, if you have him on a key adapt or a mage or whatever, you're gonna lose out, right, on their healing or turn whatever. Where again, then a warrior class is gonna actually be able to also do damage while dancing. Now, let's talk about Lady Lyn. For me as a European, of course, Lyn goes deep into my soul, right? I had actually played Fire Emblem many times before that, but Lyn is the first like Fire Emblem main character we got officially in Europe, right? So a lot of my friends know that like Lyn is their is their mark, right? But anyway, Lyn is a very good character for several reasons. Her illusions are extremely good against the AI, focus on them, and also block shocks and so on. But primarily, what I'm really focusing on Lyn is a speed taker. Now, I know you can of course buy this skill, right? But you basically only buy 1 skill per game in playing on Madden. So Speed Taker is one of the best, if not the best passive in the game, for certain, of course, characters. It gives you +2 speed per each defeat, right? For 1 fight, until you get then 10. This means that a character like Marin is gonna get 10 more speed easily, which again, at least my Marin at 45 speed, basically makes Marin immortal. So Lyn is just absurdly good for dodge tanks, right? So you either have on Marin, Unica, or Selkov to get that 10 plus speed. It also works extra good on a character like Marin, right? Because you run out Marin by herself, she calls and dodge tankers and gets a lot of. Furthermore, Lyn has the best flat stat boost of speed. Again, that is useful for a character like Marin. Yeah, I think Lyn is pretty straightforward. Have her on one of your dodge tanks. As I mentioned, Marin is the best dodge tank. And it's also because Marin can dodge tank with extremely high speed, not needing the actual bush or evasion, right? For example, Unica, as I mentioned earlier, is good with Corrin because of the fog ability. Marin can dodge without that by having absurdly high speed. So she's better than Marin, and then the call doubles, Marin can cause like choke points and stack the enemy with her and so on. So I think it's a no-brainer. You have to have her on one of your max speed characters. And again, then Marin is the best speed character in the game. Now then, let's talk Sigurd. Now people are probably getting crazy. Ivy for Sigurd? But the thing is that Sigurd, right, is a very popular emblem. And he is very powerful on one certain class of characters, which of course are flying units. If you played Chapter 17, you face Zephyr, where she uses her Super Sigurd 12 movement and so on, right? And the thing is that why Sigurd is so good on any flying unit, because he's an enormous movement, right? To a flyer character. They can basically move the whole stage. See, I can fly basically anywhere now with Ivy, right? I can fly to basically any enemy on the whole stage. This is true for Chloe, for Rosado, for any other flyer character, right? So this is no surprise there. However, Ivy is also the best flyer when it comes to general mobility, right? Because she can fly the furthest, solo character, plus then having one of the strongest range abilities in the game. So I can almost kill any unit if I just flap to them, right? And this is why Ashley is best on Ivy, because just like the boss Zephyr, Ivy now has 12 movement plus 3 in range. That's a 15 movement 15 movement attack range, right? Now on this chapter I'm showing you here, it doesn't really matter, but on many story-based chapters, having Ivy being able to fly like the half the stage at least, right? And then also shooting and having incredibly high damage, save myself from like a thief stopping an enemy from reaching a certain target, right? So this is incredibly useful if you want to be able to stop certain points, right? Or for example, snipe a boss or something, right? It's incredibly important. Furthermore, of course, just like with any other flyer, she can now fly in, you know, kill this guy, right? And then of course fly out again using canters on. Of course you cannot canter for anyone, but you get my point, you can do that, right? And this is true for any, again, cavalry unit. So I would say, I argue, that Ivy is the best character for Sigurd, and secondly best, basically, Chloe, Rosado, yeah, all the flyers works, right? Lastly, you can also use Sigurd on more or less any high-strain character, like Lewis, like Panette and so on, right? You can just run the maximum damage, get the momentum going, and then use a special ability, then you do high damage. Now then, let's talk Lucina. I've seen Lucina being underrated by some, but I think she's amazing, especially on Maddening, right? Having the dual assisting, so you do extra damage with backup, it's an incredibly good way to do safe, guaranteed damage on Maddening. So first of all, before you go into her emblem, dual assist, this is like the best passive in the game, especially for heroes then, so they do double attack. So my gold mare is a hero, right? So she has this ability, she will then add in an extra backup attack, even if she's close to the enemy, close you can run over there, right? And this is the best skill later on than dual plus. So this is arguably the best passive in the whole game, like straight up to buy for. Of course not every class, but for many classes, for any like backups. But using Lucina then, what she does is that she gives backup to any person that isn't actually a backup, daggers. Because if you have a dagger character like Yunaka, you know Yunaka is like the best character in the game, she's best with everyone, but a character like Yunaka, Merin, and Selkov then, or any other potential Wolf Rider you have, are amazing, right? Because they're gonna have the backup attack when they throw their knives, which will poison the enemy. So this is a great way to poison especially the bosses, even if your dodge tank isn't close to you. So I will say this thing, Merin is probably arguably actually the best user for Lucina as well, because she is a Wolf Rider with 1 more ability, which makes it slightly better than Yunaka, but because as I already said, right, there's a little bit process here of elimination. Merin is also, as I said, with Lyn, so it's kind of like, well, either have Lucina, I mean, but like I said, the second best character with Lyn is Yunaka, so it's kind of like give or take there. You can also go Yunaka Lyn, right, or Lucina, and so on. So you can have mixed it up there. But again, the Unique is also good because with Corian does. Unique is a very good character. But yeah, so any poison user, right, with the dagger is amazing having the dual strike. And also, of course, you also get dual support, which gives you increased evasion, right? And for example, a combo I use, right, as I mentioned earlier, Allure using Fog to protect Unica, so the next to Unica gets a dual evasion, right? So there's a lot of combos here, which is very good. Another good thing for Unica using Lucina is that the final attack she has is fairly weak, unless if you have a lot of course allies, then there's a lot of damage, like hitting a boss and so on. And what I say is because while Unica is a fantastic character, she does lack actual high damage output, especially late game, right? So the ability with Lucina doing guaranteed backup damage is much better at the course if you have a very low damage character. So they're again better on Unica. But that's basically it for Lucina. She's good on any of the Wolf Riders or Thieves, and she's pretty good on generally speaking anyone that doesn't have backup, including also Allure, which is pretty good then. So you can have Levine Sword to backup and so on. And like I said, she has the best, more or less the best pass ability in the game to unlock for your heroes and other backup characters. Now, let's talk Eirika. So Eirika is an interesting character. She basically has a very powerful ability. Some of the emblems actually I feel have a pretty useless, almost arguably useless emblem like ability when they actually activate, especially coming to those later. But Eirika is one of the most straightforward, like very, very high damage outputs. So you want to put her on like a strength-based character, right? For that alone. So Panette is very good with Eirika as well. But Gold Mary has high damage output, and Gold Mary is actually very good with Gentility as well. The one that reduces damage for you. Because Gold Mary has like the second or the highest defense growth in the game for some reason. We also mean that Gold Mary actually is pretty good to respec as a tank, because he's a better tank than Lewis. Yes, he got insane high defense with also good other stats. So if you actually respec Gold Mary to like a general, she's a much better general than Lewis, for example, and Jade. But I keep her in hero, right? Because of her backup is so good with hero. See, as I said earlier, I have dual assist, right? Of course, talked about that just. And then we have Eirika, so the high damage, she's quite tanky, and she heals herself. So Eirika and Gold Mary becomes like a, I don't know, I guess like a paladin in other games, like self-healing, high damage, high defense. She basically is good at everything. So makes her a really, really good unit. Let's talk about Ike. And I will straight up say here, as a side note as well then, that Timerra is the best tank in the game. Why? Well, she is scaling on defense. No other character in the game actually scales their damage output based on how the high defense they have. Which actually means that you're playing Timerra, especially on Maddening, where everything matters, right? Getting stuff like Defense Plus from Ike, which of course you can buy later anyway, but still, like a defense-based character, right? It's actually incredibly useful, because on any other character, you just survive more with defense side. But Timerra actually triggers Sandstorm all the time, and it actually gives her more defense. And when you utilize Ike's amazing ability, there's an AoE around you, they can also trigger Sandstorm, which is one-shot every enemy if it triggers. So Timerra is actually very, very good with Ike. She started with Ike, and I've never changed that, and I never even considered change that. And again, as a side note though, Timerra is a much better tank than Lewis, because Lewis just takes more, you know, he just survives slightly better. They almost have the exact same defense growth, but yeah, Timerra also gets more damage based on defense, right? So, much better character. I don't think I need to show this too much, right? Because you've probably already seen it, because it's the basic strategy of Timerra. But this seriously never stops being the best strategy of Timerra. You can easily run her up, right, to all the enemies, because of her much higher res than the other tank had, like Jade and Lewis. She can survive it easier and have better health pool, right? And again, as I mentioned, scaling on defense means you can run up there, you can survive the enemy attacks, and then the next turn you will either kill them or at least do high damage to everyone around you. This seriously never stops being the best build with Ike. Ability. Another reason it's so good on Timerra too is because Timerra, and seriously, I mean the game gives you Timerra and Ike, but this is the best combo for him, because Timerra, if she can be here in the front, now she's basically immortal during the Ike power up, right? No one can hurt, she can tank infinite enemies now, both magicians and physical guys. However, she's also a backup, right? She's for a special class, she's both a tank, like a general or whatever basically, right? But also, she will back up. So, she puts spear on her, right? We throw the spear, you know it works. Now, of course, any other character can attack, and she will then, of course, also do her backup damage, the chain attack. This is something that Lewis can't do, right? But Timerra preferably needs to have Ike on her, right, to really start off this kind of combo. That's why it's so much better. But otherwise, of course, for Ike, other good characters are characters like Lewis, Jade, etc., right? Other, like, tanky characters. Now let's talk Hortensia and Mikaei. First of all, as a side tip, right, Mikaei is a very good emblem to have on any unit to XP them up, right, in the beginning of the game. Using Great Sacrifice, you get a lot of XP, it's like a level per Great Sacrifice, right? So a very good way to gain XP, right, for anyone, that's for Jean. But anyway, what does she do most of that? Well, she augments your staff range, right? While it's true that Mikaei can basically allow any character to be a healer, still, why would you want to do that, right? The way I look at it is like, no, you want to have a healer as being a better healer. Because in this game, you want to do the most damage you can do, right? You want to have the fewest tank as possible, And also you want to have the fewest healers possible, right? And just do most damage you can. So the whole concept of, oh, I can have a tank like Lewis also heal or something, that's all pointless, honestly. But you want to focus in on having a better healer, right? And with that, of course, comes that Hortensia is the best healer in the game. Hortensia is by far the best healer in the game. First of all, she got big personality, right? It gives her one more range with her heals. That stacks, of course, with Mikaei. So now we got an insane healing range, right? So this is like absurd. And I think most things in these games, it's true for other fighting games as well, is mostly better being better at what you're better at, right? So if, for example, I said earlier, Lyn, more speed, right? Who has the highest speed? Marin, okay? Marin, speed tanking, best speed tank, okay? More speed for that, right? If I have further healing range, okay, this healing range, plus this thing, now I got an insane healing range, right? That is much more useful in the game than any other thing, really. Like, being better is really good at. It also, of course, adds in other stuff too, like obstruct, okay? Now I can block easier, right? I can warp further, I can save people further, I can heal the whole team bigger, right? So all this stuff is amazing. Plus, second passive Hortensia, World Free, right? She retains her staff usage, it triggers very frequently. Means, of course, you can also use these more rare staffs, especially on Maddening. You have less money, right? You can use them much more often. So Hortensia is by far the best healer in the game, and also has by far the best setup with Mikaei. So I think it's an easy no-brainer. This is the best combo for Mikaei. And otherwise, you know, basically any other healer, right? You know, any other healer you use can also use Mikaei, right? Or like a magician, like a sage unit that both heals or damage or whatever. But again, Hortensia's the maximum range, it just becomes insane. You know, like she can use heal everyone, heals herself. It's just absurd. Like and she can fly too, right? She's a flying healer with the extremely longest healing range. She can easily save Anima with rescue, because you can fly half the stage, right? And you can do the rescue with plus range and so on. So this is like an insanely good combo. And I think she's not only Hortensia the best healer, but with Mikaei is the much better healer, and basically for utility of warp and so on, obstruct, rescue, so on, much more than any other healer in the game, right? Now, in the end, let's talk about the emblem. You don't really care about that much, honestly. So Roy, first of all, is useless, okay? Straight up, no, but there is one more emblem good here, guys. But Roy and Blazing Lion is terrible, right? This damage on his ability, this ability is just shit, right? Never use it. The only thing good with Roy is the holdout, right? So you can buy the skill, of course, but this is actually good. I would argue for best again on Unica, because yes, it is good for tanking, like Louise. When you get Roy, you have Louise or Jade or whatever. Like, it's good on the tank so they can survive, right? It's good on Timera and so on. But more so, it's again best on the dodge tank, actually. Unica, Selkov, Marin, because if they get hit right, they usually die immediately because they have so low defense points. So if you have Roy on Unica, I tried it out for a few saves, and it actually works pretty well, right? Because, you know, she either evades every attack or she dies immediately. This is kind of like Endure. You must be playing like Mimikyu in Pokemon, right? You have no actual defense points, but you have the Endure thing, Focus Dash, so you survive with 1 health, right? So yeah, honestly, like, Holdout is best on dodge tank. It's not best on actual, like, you know, defense tanks. There's a lot of people talking that, again, they're using Holdout on, like, Lewis or one. But think about it, Lewis dies slowly, right? Except against magicians, but against normal tanks, he dies slowly. So Holdout is actually pretty good on dodge tanks. But generally speaking, I think Roy is so bad that I'd rather, like, not use him, right? For example, this ring, for example, is better on Unica than having Roy. Because with this ability, right, you will now have a 1 in 3 chance to reduce the enemy to 1 health, right? It's an amazing ring on Unica. Basically she does insane damage now. You're up, you dodge tank, right? And she counters, and she gives some Bane. Like, every third enemy attacking her is gonna get to 1 health left, right? Because her dex is so high. So this is an amazing ring on her. She will do much more damage than using Roy, right? Like, straight up, right? And if you look at other characters, for example, I'm using Wingard on him. It's 1+ range, right? Like, seriously, Roy is like worse than having these rings. And the only thing good having him on a character because you get more SP. But yeah, Roy is very meh. Now let's talk about Mart. And I say here immediately, Kagetsu. Right? Kagetsu is broken. This is Kagetsu. I haven't even used Kagetsu because he's so good that I don't even want to use him in his playthrough. Look, he's level 1 here. Like, I would say Kagetsu's stats are just so insanely broken, right? So when you get Kagetsu, he has like twice the stats of Lapis, right? You can see how I stopped using Lapis afterwards. He got, you know, 7 more strength. This is when you get Kagetsu with Lapis, and use either of them since then. So 3 mag, he got, you know, 6. 10 more dexterity, you know. Yeah, 7 more speed. Like, Kagetsu is an insanely, again, broken character. Focus on sword strike. Basically, the only character in the game that you want to have as a sword character is Kagetsu. And of course, Mart being the sword guy, right? If he gets straight up, like, Kagetsu is broken, he should then have Mart, right? And the second best character for Mart is the main character. And I don't think you should even use any other sword user. Like I said in my video, talking about different classes one a bit, you don't need to have that many sword users in the game, right? I basically use no sword user or only the main character. It's not really used for any more sword. So let's talk about Celica. I want to preface and say that Warp Ragnarok is an amazing ability, and if you're struggling on maddening, especially struggling in beginning of the game, getting like the chests and so on, stopping the teeth and so on, right? And saving Anna, for example, you want to use Warp Ragnarok, right? So you probably have, of course, the Celine, Celica, and you warp in, you one-shot them with the Ragnarok. It's an amazing ability. And straightforward, basically, right? Celica is the mage buff, right? You get a very late back in the game, and I think it's pretty straightforward. Citrine is the best team with her, right? You have Citrine, because Citrine is just a better version than Celine is, right? Then it goes down the list, right? So you have Citrine, then you got Ivy. Ivy is arguably better, because then you can warp in and then fly out again with counters. You can actually move away, right? So Ivy is the best Warp Ragnarok user. But Citrine is pretty slow and so on, and doesn't have mobility. So it kind of adds to her more, right? Generally speaking. And then you get the other mages like whatever, you know, Celine or Anna or something, yeah. Basically, Celica is just like best mage user and go down, right? And then lastly, we have Leif. That's how the name is pronounced. It's pronounced Leif, and for that matter, it's pronounced Sigurd. Like you pronounce the I for a time, not Sigurd. You pronounce Sigurd and Leif. Okay, but anyway, Leif is useless. At least Roy, thought about. Roy at least had Holdout as a passive, right? His ability, this line is terrible, but at least has a good passive for some characters. But Leif is just terrible. His attack is worse than normal attack, and you end up with having the wrong weapon. So I mean, Leif is so bad that he makes your character weaker, right? So when you use his ability, your character probably die. And the other passes are kind of pointless. Arm shield is kind of pointless. You don't really need that. Doesn't do much. Almost never triggers so on. And he doesn't even have good passive scuff either. So I would straightforward say that Leif is so terrible that it's better not using him on any character. Because the few characters you have left, right, doesn't have an emblem in your team. As I showed you earlier, you have, for example, the suit ring with Bane. You have the 1+ range with the Cloud, and so on, right? So you have the other rings that do more than what Leif does. The only reason to have Leif on a character is to get more SP. The DLC rings are the opposite. So I won't cover them too much here, Tiki, etc. I don't care honestly that much because they're basically just broken, right? So where Leif is terribly useless, all the DLC rings are amazing, and I definitely guess that coming waves in the DLC probably have more emblem rings, right? And they are all probably gonna be amazing, yeah, because they all have really good abilities, really good passives, they have XP gain and so on, right? So they're all amazing. I honestly, in my opinion, would recommend not playing with them on like a maddening blind run or whatever, because they do make the game fairly much easier, especially, of course, Chapter 11. Then, what do you guys think? Is this the perfect emblem? At least I think so, right? I think a lot of people are missing out on, especially I hope people can use Allure with Corrin, right? I think that's the no-brainer, because it actually makes the main character be amazing instead. Please leave a comment below. What do you guys think? What are your best combos? And have a great day. Please subscribe, and see you guys in the next video.